Aloha, everybody, and welcome to Akaku's Capital Wrap, Conversations with Hawaii's Legislators. Today in the studio, we are honored to have the Senator for the 6th District of Maui, the largest district in the state, Kalani English. Welcome to Akaku.
Aloha. Good to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. We're really interested in hearing about what happened this year in the legislature for 2008. And first, congratulations. I understand you are now the president of the Association of Pacific Island Legislatures.
Yes, thank you. It's an association of 13 Pacific Island countries and nations across the North and South Pacific, and it's a legislative branches, so we get together twice a year in the region, and we try to coordinate our policies within the region. So for example, with shipping, trying to make sure the tariffs are the same, or with transportation, medical care, these types of things. So it's been it's a great honor. I'm the first one elected from Hawaii to this post, and it's an election from the legislators from the various countries. So American Samoa, Federated States of Micronesia, Republic of Kiribati, Republic of Palau, Guam, Northern Marianas, they're all members of this organization.
Well, that's great, and they're going to be very happy to have you at the head of the organization this year.
Thank you.
Kalani, you do have a very large district and a challenging legislative session.
Indeed, absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us a little about some of your best successes and some of your challenges.
You know, first let's just describe the district. You know, I mean, it's the largest geographical district in the state. I mean, I am the only senator that has multiple islands. I have the island of Molokai, the island of Lanai, Kaho'olawe, East and Upcountry Maui. So it's the most diverse area. It's the most complex area in terms of needs and makeups. I have the most amount of transportation infrastructure. You know, airports, harbors. It's vast. It's a wonderful district. You know, the diversity really is what I celebrate in this district. But it's also very difficult to provide for because you know, when we're dealing at the legislature with, well, we just have one, where does it go? I always have to argue that, you know, really I have 5 main regions and 3 islands, 3.5 islands that I have to deal with. So I cannot just take one of something. You know, I need to have at least 3 to make sure that it's fair.
And one of the big successes I know for you and for HANA and for really all of the harbors is the harbor improvement bill that was passed.
Yes, the Harbors Modernization Plan is a very, very large piece of legislation. All in all, it allocates $862 million for the repair and upgrading of our harbors infrastructure. And, you know, part of that was we included HANA in that because, well, you know, frankly, if we get caught in a earthquake or something where one of the bridges go out and it's simply a matter of time. I mean, the bridges are in very bad condition.
Well, we saw that in the last earthquake.
Yes, in fact, Kaupo is still cut off, you know, and it hasn't been fixed. So that earthquake was in 2006. Here we are in 2008, and it still hasn't been fixed. Those communities are still isolated. That's my fear for HANA. You know, what I did was a very unique thing with this Harbors Modernization Plan. Usually communities have to come in and really beg for something. I've turned it around and I said, well, you know, the money's allocated, it's a revenue bond, it's there for a new harbor. And, you know, the harbor that's in HANA right now was built in a time when we had an oil refinery there, when we had sugarcane there, we had trains, we had 5,000 plus people living there. The size of that, the pier, condemned pier that we have now, what will be built there will be nothing close to that size. It'll be very, very small. I mean, much smaller, just enough to get an emergency boat into HANA. So,
and none of the shippers are interested in opening that up at this point.
No, and you know, I mean, there's no, like Kalaupapa, you know, it's once a year that they go to Kalaupapa just to deliver the supplies in, and Kalaupapa is one of the best recycling communities in the state, and take out all of the stuff that they've accumulated during the year. So, you know, the choice is really HANA's. I mean, at this point, the community can say yes or no, and it's up to them. But I put HANA in a very unique situation where, you know, it's not begging for the resources, it's not anything like that. It's simply saying, well, you know, yes or no, we like it, and we don't. But it's you know, I think the infrastructure is badly needed out there. And it's my home. I'll be there for my entire life. So, you know, in the end, when I'm retired and I'm sitting in my little village in Hamoa, you know, hopefully this little wharf and little pier that comes in over there will be enough to supply that side on an emergency basis.
Let's talk about Kalaupapa.
Yes.
You just recently had an apology bill passed.
Yes, you know, Kalaupapa, the patients or the former patients in Kalaupapa, there's 27 of them left, and they've endured such hardships in their lives. Paul Harada, who was one of the patients, passed away earlier this year, but he often would say to us and the group in Kalaupapa, and when we'd meet, and his family and friends, that, you know, we've never heard a thank you for the great sacrifices that they made. So that's what they were pushing for. And when they came to me and brought me the, you know, idea, and the more I looked into it and the more we researched, I said, you know, you're also due an apology, because these sulfur drugs to cure Hansen's disease, or leprosy as it was known then, came on the markets in 1948, and yet our policy of isolating Hansen's disease patients stayed in place until 1969. So from 1948 until 1969, we had the patients were cured, but the laws didn't change to allow them to leave. They were forcibly exiled into Kalaupapa. And so for that, the apology is given. On August 12th, I will go to Kalaupapa and formally present the apology to them. But this was Senate Concurrent Resolution 208. It passed both houses of the legislature, and it's the first time that Hawaii has apologized to a segment of its people for harsh treatment in the past.
Certainly deserves the apology. What are some of the other bills this session that you're excited about, that you were able to get through the legislation?
You know, this year was a watershed year, because we had a lot of I would say really good bills go through and follow up to some of the other bills. Last year we had the Ahamoku bill that went through, which was looking at really integrated land use management from a holistic standpoint and from a Hawaiian standpoint. And that's been moving ahead. So the follow-up on that will come next year. You know, I'm just drawing a blank right now when you ask such a broad question.
Well, you know, I was talking with Roz yesterday, because you and Shan and Roz work really well together in the Senate. And I know there's great concern about the veto possibilities that are coming up next week.
Well, in fact, you know, actually the Senate has already decided that we will go into session on July 8th, next week, Tuesday. And that's the veto override. By Constitution, we're automatically called back into session at 12 noon on the 45th day, which is on July 8th, 45th day after we adjourned. So the Senate has decided that we'll come in to consider veto overrides. The governor has put on the list 52 bills that would possibly be vetoed for various reasons. I mean,
so that's the same day that she would veto them, and the legislator has to.
Well, she has up until that day.
Up until that date.
Right. So I mean, she can sign them into law.
But that's the last date to override as well.
That's the only day that we can.
That you can.
Right. So we'll come in. The Senate will come in. You know, the House, it's up to them. But we've decided that we will come in and consider veto overrides. You know, for example, there's a taro bill that's on the veto list, and it allocates $325,000 to study apple snails, to look at eradicating apple snails, to look at helping the taro farmers. It requires OHA to match this money, so then it's like $650,000, and it's on the veto list. Why? I don't know. So, you know, I think that should that bill get vetoed, I'm quite certain we can override that.